back on the show. It's the Mullet, Michael Sear, who won the Fierce FC bantamweight title with a round two submission victory over Yazan Hajeh. And Michael, I've seen the video. I watched it back a couple of times. Really a great performance, big win over a tough opponent. You got to be riding on cloud nine right about now.
Yeah, it's already starting to wear off because we were talking to the manager today and yesterday about another fight. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. I couldn't get a visa in time. We were gonna go do some big things, but he's still looking for other stuff. But yeah, no, I feel great. That was a fun fight, a fun win. I mean, going against another grappler, but we both kind of stood up for a while. That was my game plan. I had some fun.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Let's backtrack right here for a second before we dive in and talk about the fight and the significance of winning the title. You said another fight, but you couldn't get a visa. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
I just got the phone call a minute ago, but yeah, we were gonna go to Tokyo for a fight. That short notice was gonna be in 2 weeks, but that didn't quite work. So I'm gonna stay light, just stay on weight or closer to weight. See if we get something because I'm still in shape and everything, but and no big injuries or anything going on. So ready to just turn it around real quick if we have to. But also, I got Eddie Bravo accepted me to combat jiu-jitsu in March. So if there's nothing else, we're going to be ready to go right in March for that. So yeah, that's just it's once you get done with one fight, you're riding that high, but looking for another fight. This kind of stuff doesn't really happen for me that often because it's always like it's just hard to find a fight. The regional scene kind of sucks in Washington unless the couple of promoters that just run there's no shows that aren't in a casino, and those are kind of sketchy, So, but being in the bigger shows and having people wanting to fight, and that's my goal for this year, being able to kind of turn it around quick.
So, what promotion would this fight have been for in Japan if you could have went?
It's I think it's called Gladiator something. But yeah, it was just a quick. I mean, the pay was pretty good, and the opponent was good. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, so that would have been fun too. So I don't know. It was just a quick, good opportunity. And I don't know too much about the organization, but I did see that they had a couple of fights on YouTube. So Japan's Japan, though. I go over there to fight in a bar, in a bar or something. But that'd be cool.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Maybe you will get that opportunity down the road. Let's talk about this fight again. You won the Fierce FC title. Is the belt as beautiful as it looks on pictures? In person, is as gorgeous as I've seen on social media?
Yeah, it looked pretty good. I'm actually I haven't gone back to the gym since I've been home because my wife's family lives down in Idaho Falls. So we were kind of hanging out with them. I'm back now. Obviously, I'm in my work van. I'm working today, but when I get off work, I'm going into the gym. I'm gonna give that belt to Pablo to hang up on the wall and do some jiu-jitsu again. But it looks good. It's gonna look good on the wall in Warrior Camp. I'm excited.
Well, you got the job done in the second round. I'm curious, what your coaches told you after round one. What was the advice that they gave you going into the second round before you got the stoppage win?
Well, Pablo's kind of just reiterating a couple of the things that we were already working on. Everything was going right in that first round. We kept it in the stand up. We were waiting for him to shoot. In a lot of his fights, he was shooting a lot, and why waste my energy on a takedown when he's going to try it anyway, and I'll sprawl on him or just make it a scramble. But so that's kind of what we were thinking. Pablo just reiterated that my striking was better, that I was going to catch him. Sure enough, I had a second cornerman. He's the cut man for Fierce, and he's a cool guy. And he ended up telling me, because in the first round I did throw a little bit of an overhand, kind of similar to what I knocked him down with, and that one landed flush. So he just he mentioned that was the one thing that he said. He was just like, hey, maybe throw another overhand. And Pablo and I've been working on a lot of, we'll work on obviously tons of different combos and things. And one of the ones that I was working on with Pablo a lot, and also my coach CJ Phillips, he's crew in Muay Thai, and he was working with me the same thing, just two to the head, three to the body, and kind of like an uppercut shovel hook. But both of them had that in there because I've got a pretty good liver shot with the hands, and sure enough, it landed. But this time, the two pushed him over, and I hit him with the three to the face rather than body. But that combo over and over again, and that was all in the corner there. It was kind of the first couple of seconds I couldn't hear what Pablo was saying because I was just breathing. But after that, yeah, we were just kind of reiterating what I remember, just going over. This is the way we want it to go. It's looking good.
And ultimately, you locked up the submission. You calling it a dirt devil? I guess it's like a modified twister, right? Tell me a little bit more about how that name like originated and how you ultimately got this submission.
Well, when I started jiu-jitsu, I went to the 6 a.m. class first for months. I didn't even go to the night class at Warrior Camp. And my coach there is Jesse Hardenbrook. He was always he got his purple belt through Eddie Bravo because Eddie used to come up to Spokane a lot because there was a 10th Planet Gym there for a while. And then when that closed down, that was when he went to Warrior Camp and obviously became a black belt there. But so he's always had kind of an affinity for the 10th Planet system and has taught me a lot along the way. And one of the times we were working on, I love the Twister. That's the Troll Truck series is fun for me. And, I've almost got it in the past. But my other training partner, Daniel Swain, he's had 30, almost 40 fights, and I've trained with him for quite a few years now. But he used to come into the morning class a lot, so him and Jesse would be working on different things, and he was the one that showed me that we were working on twisters and stuff, and he was just, I think he hit it on me first. He just had a body triangle and then hit it. There's a few things with it where you want it to be like on the lock side because they can't turn in as easy. You can hook their leg and then they can't go anywhere. I let him. And I guess when I watched it back, the announcer thought that he was escaping, and it looks like it. But I let him escape to that one side. I didn't let him go the other way and run away. I let him come into the one side, just kind of windshield wiped his arm around, and then just grab the head, start pulling. And really, he tapped right away. But I realized, and you could see it in the footage. You could see his arm kind of go to tap. You can barely see it. And then you'll see me lighten up for a second. I was like, oh shit, ref didn't see it. And I shouldn't have lightened up on it. I should have made him tap harder. But then I made him tap again, which sucks. I feel bad. I don't know if he actually fully tapped or not, but I felt like it tapped to me. And so I let up and then I squeezed again. But yeah, it's a just as nasty as the regular twister, but if you do it right. But yeah, there's a couple of tricks to it.
Yeah, man, it was a beautiful submission victory, and it looked like the crowd in there really enjoyed your performance. What was it like fighting in the Mountain America Arena? Again, this is in Idaho Falls, so I'm sure you have a lot of people there supporting you. But just what was that moment like? What was the energy like in the crowd?
Yeah, that was the loudest crowd I've ever been in. I think that the stadium holds about 6,000 people. There's a small section that they closed off, obviously, where we walk in and whatnot because it's like a hockey arena. So there's a little section that didn't have any seating, but everything else I was told sold out. And I mean, it was packed, even the boxes up top and stuff. So they were loud. I had family there. My mom and dad drove down from Spokane. It's like an 8-hour drive. And my wife and I got 3 kids, and my wife and I drove down that drive. We do it all the time anyway, so we were used to it. But we had a few people drive down, and then my wife's family lives down there, sister and brother-in-law, and yeah, so that crowd, it was electric. I mean, once I got the knockdown, even in the first round, when he caught me pretty good with a shot, they were screaming, and when I caught him with a shot, it was good. It wasn't. It would quiet down a couple of times, but man, it got loud. So
Mhm.
that was fun.
And you were amazing on the microphone and your post-fight speech there, talking to the announcer. I think the most important thing that people want to know is, do you have a beer sponsor yet?
No, we're looking for one for combat jiu-jitsu. I want to get a rash guard that's got like Bush Light on it or something, but um, just American beers, the old good old NASCAR beers. If it's anything Budweiser or Bush or Coors or something, that's what I want. I don't, I'll probably take anything if it's for a short time, but the American beers for sure. That I haven't got one yet, but we're looking for the right one. We're gonna be picky.
I love it, man. Good for you. How did you celebrate this win, man? Obviously, I have to imagine some good food, maybe an American beer or two. What was the post-fight victory celebration like?
Funny enough, one of my favorite beers that I haven't had in a long time is the Heineken. So, because they're real expensive and I'm a cheap ass, so bought a 12 pack of that. Drank those with my dad, and we are over at my brother-in-law's house and brother and sister-in-law, and um, my wife and the kids were there, and a few other people. It was good. We had a few beers, and my brother-in-law is Thai, and he was a chef for many years, so he made up a whole bunch of orange chicken and some fried rice and stuff. And man, I can't pass that up. I ate a lot, so it was good.
Good for you. Well, you said you were keeping the weight down. So what did the weight get up to? What was the heaviest you got?
Oh, I like fight night. I always get back to at least 150 to 155. I think I was about 154 or so. I the weight cut always, and this time I kind of made a mistake between getting out of the bath for the last time and um, like weighing in right then and there with 2 hours between that and weigh-ins, and I was 40 or 34.8, and I was like
Mm.
perfect. And then when I got there, it was 33 and a half. So I dropped another 2 pounds somehow, or maybe my scale's off. But yeah, it was crazy. I was pretty light, but I got refueled right away. I was the first one to weigh in. That was nice. But yeah, I've got the same program that I do over and over again. Joel Thomas and Jesse Hardenbrook, a couple of my coaches. Joel's the one that started Warrior Camp back in the early 2000s, and he's had a system, and I've learned it through him and through my coach Jesse, of just weight cutting in general and water loading and all of that. A lot of people do things wrong, cut salt way out early or cut it too late or do things like that. It's a good system, and I keep using it, and I'll get my weight back real quick. But really, I mean, I was walking around at like 150, waking up around 150 before the water cut, and then getting it down even lower than that. But so you kind of put on a little bit more with all the carbs and stuff, so it feels good on a fight night.
Yeah, no doubt. Sounds like you got it down to a science. I guess the big thing, for your career now moving forward, Michael, is where does this win put you? Like, does this position you in a spot where, maybe you're considered for contender series this next round, or what are you thinking about, for goals here moving forward?
Well, I've always thought about the contender series because I think it's a good avenue in there, and you get a lot of eyes on you. But I think the consensus between I listen to Pablo. I do what he says. It makes my life a lot easier because um, he's done this before. He told me from the beginning, step by step, the different things I was going to do. Going to LFA, going on the regional scene and going pro first of all, then going to LFA. He told me I was going to be in combat jiu-jitsu. I mean, he told me this when I just got my blue belt. The things that he has planned for me, he just manifests it or something. I don't know. I just get in the gym, I work my ass off, and the rest I leave up to him. My manager, I got Iridium Sports Management, my management team. Jason's great. I was just talking to I just told him when I got signed by them, just talk to Pablo. As long as you and Pablo are in agreement, I'm happy with it. I don't care. I don't pick my fights. I don't, it's just a process between them, and I'll say yes, and we'll sign the papers, and that's my job. So that's kind of the way it lines up with all these things. Next, I think we're looking for another win or two outside the UFC. I don't care if we're not going to go to contender series or anything. I like the, being on the shows outside of it. We're making better money now and having fun with that. And I want to build my name outside the UFC so that when I get there, it's not just like who's this guy, whatever. Nobody knows me as of right now or even a few months ago, but they're gonna know it from outside the UFC, and there's gonna be plenty of footage for them to watch and when I get into the UFC and really know that I'm gonna be a contender.
Man, I love that answer. And it sounds like you have the right pieces, the right team around you to really help you get ready for that next level. So once you do get there, you'll stay. You won't be someone that just has a couple fights and cut.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing about the regional scene is if you get enough fights here and just really keep racking the wins up against good guys. I've got, there's a couple of guys on my record that aren't the greatest, but it was when I was either 1-0 or 2-0 or whatever. It's not a big deal back then. But looking at people's records, you can tell when somebody's good. And I got 100% finish rate. I'm not looking to just go out there and dance around for no reason. I want to win a fight, and I want to win it decisively. I don't want it to be any BS. So if I keep doing that, I want to. We'll get a contract in the UFC, go right in the UFC. We don't have to play all these games, go on the Ultimate Fighter or do whatever. I'd do that if I had. That's fine, but I'll just keep winning on the regional scene. That's fine too.
I love it, man. Well, again, congrats on winning this big title here for Fierce FC. Looking forward to seeing you back in action whenever that may be. Again, Michael, I appreciate the time. Before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor. If there's anyone you want to thank, anything you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I definitely want to thank my wife, and that's she's the number one support, because she gets put through a lot of work and watching kids and all of this, and we spend as much time as we can together. But um, we're gonna, if the weather, if we get some snow here, we're gonna go up to the mountains and do some snowboarding here in the next couple of weeks and spend some time together. But she's my main support through this whole thing. Thanks to my dad too, and for coming down and watching us, and my brother and sister-in-law. Shout out to Caitlin and NJ. But yeah, just check out my Instagram, Mike's here 12, and I think in the near future here, there's gonna be some fun stuff. So between combat jiu-jitsu and other fights. So if anybody wants to watch that, just tune into the Instagram.